This team is about that action. They've taken on the form and the attitude of their head coach.
The Detroit Lions are a legit championship contender.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get straight into it. When I tell you that the Detroit Lions are legit and for real, and I know I said this a couple weeks ago, I seriously mean it. You know, arguably right now, they are one of the best teams in all of the NFL right now and are currently second place in the NFC behind the Philadelphia Eagles. And where they sit right now, record-wise, is the best start they've had since 2014, and all of you guys know how special 2014 was. And let's not sell ourselves short. They could actually be 7-1 right now if they didn't have a couple slip-ups in the Seahawks game, and we all know what happened with the Ravens. I've never seen the Detroit frickin' Lions have such a complimentary football team that can overcome anything, and we saw that firsthand Monday night against the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm so jacked up for what this team could potentially do in the playoffs, and if you guys are as excited as me, please remember to leave a like and subscribe because it always does help me out. More people get to see this, and we're so close to 6,000 subscribers, so I'd greatly appreciate it. Let's try to get over 1,000 likes and show why the Lions community is the absolute best. But in all seriousness, guys, when was the last time you were actually this confident in the Lions, let alone that they could actually win not one, but potentially several playoff games in a single season? And you guys, the way that they've been playing through injuries and having guys step up and make play after play after play, game after game after game has just been truly incredible, and the bye could not really come at a better point for the rest of the season. And as I told you a couple weeks ago, I feel like they could field this entire roster into 2 or 3 different teams. And for me, the sheer domination the Lions have been able to produce every facet of the ball game has just been truly impressive. Like we saw it against the Falcons, we saw it against Green Bay, we saw it against the Panthers, we saw it against the Bucks. Yeah, they hit a dud last week against the Ravens, and yeah, we saw it again against the Raiders, and they're going 6-2 into their bye. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes can have statues now. I have been just totally impressed with the job that they've done, and they deserve all the credit. Dan for putting amazing staff together and getting his players to play hard, and Brad drafting amazing talent to fill the roster. It's just truly special stuff, and this Detroit Lions team could be an upset for the NFC and in the Super Bowl. I don't care if it seems overhyped. San Francisco's falling flat on their face right now, and the Philadelphia Eagles are starting to get a harder schedule coming up. And you know the scariest part about all of this, guys? I'm recording this before the trade deadline, so if they do something, this team could legitimately be so freaking scary. And honestly, it's pretty awesome seeing a guy like Max Crosby begging to be on the team.
It was a dope environment. Detroit is got great history. Obviously, I grew up, loving the Lions, so I'm seeing them have success. It's like, it's bittersweet.
But going back to last night against the Raiders, yeah, they may have had, troubles with red zone efficiency last night, and Goff threw a terrible pick six to Marcus Peters, who made an incredible play on the ball. But aside from that, the team everywhere else was bouncing around all freaking night. Jared continued to make impressive throws last night, especially into tight windows and coverage. He really didn't have to do much and was basically the bus driver. You had Amon-Ra St. Brown with probably the quietest 100-yard game I've ever seen. The rookies Sam LaPorta and Jahmyr Gibbs played out of their freaking mind. Like the whole game felt like the Jahmyr Gibbs show. And on the night, Gibbs would finish with a total of 189 yards, 26 carries for 152 yards rushing, with an average of 5.8 yards per carry, 5 receptions for 37 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown. The game has finally slowed down for him, and he showed you why the Lions took him at 12. And I'm just going to put this out for you guys. Gibbs is Detroit's first rookie running back to produce a game with 100+ rushing yards and 30+ receiving yards since Barry Sanders did it in 1989. He's just so fast and explosive, and it's so exciting to watch. And Craig Reynolds also had a freaking game too, man. He almost had 100 yards rushing, and he had a rushing score. Like, this is probably one of the best rushing units in all of the league right now. You got David Montgomery when he's healthy, Jahmyr Gibbs, and honestly Craig Reynolds too now. And the best part is they complement each other so well in their skill sets. But honestly, I think we got to look at how dominant this offensive line was with how banged up they were. Hank Fraley is honestly one of the most underrated offensive line coaches in the league and doesn't get enough credit. The Lions had double the time of possession the Raiders had, with them having 329 more yards than the Raiders, second most for any NFL game this season, with the largest yards differential for opponents, giving up only 1 sack, with the Lions having a backup center, 2 backup guards, a third string guard at one point. Just overall, really impressive stuff from the offense on the day, and it wasn't even their best performance, which is the scariest part because they're still still trying to figure out how to hit their stride. Defensively, you know, the Lions were absolutely suffocating all night long. You know, I know the Raiders don't really have a great passing attack or offense in general with Jimmy G at quarterback, but you can't deny what the Lions did last night, especially in their pass rush, was just unbelievable. And when you look at just how much generated pressure they had on the night, it's the most since 2018, not just by the Lions, but an entire NFL team, with them generating pressure on 71.4% of Jimmy Garoppolo's dropbacks. 5 different Lions defenders generated 3+ pressures. They had 6 sacks on the night, with the Raiders only giving up 7 before this game in the whole season. 2 from Alex Anzalone and Ali McNeil, Julian Okwara and Tracy Walker coming each up with 1. And I know we've talked about on the channel that the Lions need another pass rusher to complement Aiden Hutchinson, but they showed that they didn't really need it last night. And guys, our secondary was playing absolutely like ball hawks last night. Like, Jerry Jacobs and Cam Sutton were lockdowns last night. I don't think a Raiders receiver had a completion until the third quarter. The defense only gave up 7 points when the Raiders had that long sustained running drive by Josh Jacobs. But aside from that, they really didn't let anything happen. You know, the Raiders had 157 yards total, 77 passing yards and 80 rushing yards for 3-point yards per play. They were forced to punt 5 times. And my God, if the Lions keep playing this complimentary football with this head coach, they can go anywhere the rest of the season. I honestly just cannot believe what we're witnessing before our eyes. I've never seen such a gritty Lions team that can beat you in multiple different areas. These rookies and young guys are stepping up every single week, and they're only getting better and better. Like, I forgot to mention this earlier, but it's just hard to believe that Amon-Ra St. Brown is still getting better. He came into this year with just 6 100-yard games to his name, and he already has 5 100-yard games this season. Just unbelievable stuff, man. But what I honestly think, and what I love about Dan Campbell, he's the grit guy himself. He loves his players, and I really believe that his players love playing for him and playing with each other. As I say on the channel all the time, this team is playing with a one heartbeat, and they're finally showing it on the field every single week. And by no means they're even playing their best football. You know, they got the turnover problems, they got the fumble problems, they got the efficiency problems. Like, this is a bunch of cleanup stuff. But mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, when this team finally gets rid of all the crap, they will be the best team in the NFL and could very well be Super Bowl champions at the end of the year. I don't think that's a dream anymore. I think that's just the reality of where we're at. And right now, when you look at the rest of their schedule after the bye, they very well could win out the rest of the way, with Dallas only being the winning team on their schedule. And in my opinion, this is the largest window the Lions have ever had for a Super Bowl. The NFC is weak. You could still build the future while trying to win now. I think they got to go all in right now. Get a guy if you want to. If you don't, they still can contend, man. The Eagles, yeah, they look dominant, but they have weaknesses too, and I think the Lions can take anybody in the NFC right now. Dan Campbell is proving that he's one of the best coaches in the league. Jared Goff's playing like an MVP candidate. This is the best Lions roster that we've had in our lifetimes. It's just so exciting to see where this team finally is after their long history. I'll be so thrilled if the Lions make it to the NFC Championship game. What a rocking Ford Field that would be, and in the Super Bowl. But anyways, guys, I hope you did enjoy the video. I always love doing Lions stuff. I've been following this team and been a fan for years, and shout out to Brent in the comments for always being a #1 supporter on the channel. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all of you guys. Comment what you thought down below. But anyway, guys, I'll see you next time. Peace.